Okay, tonight the My Freedom Show is dedicated to the memory of a friend and a brother who was a listener here on CMR and a regular in the chat room, Paul Higson, or Paul Oldham as he was known in chat. Sadly, Paul decided to take his own life last Saturday, and even more sadly, this is something that is all too common, especially in the truth movement, where people are aware of the awful way this world is controlled by the few. I didn't know Paul personally, but had talked to him in chat, and because we are a close-knit group here at the station, it did affect and knock for six those of us who had met or talked to him, because he was one of us, and one of us that felt so bad about their life and the future that they were actually prepared to end it all. And it really does shock you to the core, and you start wondering if you could have done something different that may have helped that person see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So I wanted to make the focus of the show tonight positive thinking and dealing with depression, and how we can all help each other in these times, something we try our best to do here at Critical Mass Radio. Essentially, the most important thing we can do is be honest with each other and talk to each other and lose our pride and our ego and just be there for one another. So this show is in memory of Paul Higson, and I hope you're in a better place now, Paul. Good evening, everyone. As always, welcome to the Cry Freedom Show on CMR Critical Mass Radio at criticalmassradio.co.uk. It's Scouts Night on Thursday the 1st of November, and I can't actually believe I'm saying that because it only seems 5 minutes ago I was sunbathing in the back garden cutting up my veg for dinner, and flippin' heck, it's nearly bonfire night already.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Okay, so as I said in the intro, I am actually dedicating this show to the memory of our brother, Paul Higson, who was a fairly regular member in our chat room here. We were all very, very distressed to hear that he did take his own life last Saturday, and I have to say that I did feel his frustration at times with some of the things that he said, but obviously there was no way we could have realised just how fed up that he really was, and our thoughts and our deepest sympathies go out to all his family and his friends from the station. And personally, I just wished I could have helped him in some way, but if nothing else, I think it will make me act in a slightly different way anytime I sense this kind of frustration from someone. So I did just want to start by playing the next track in special memory of Paul, and this is just to say I'm sorry that we weren't able to help you more. Okay, folks, as regulars will be well aware, we are playing this conference like mad here on CMR. It's our very first conference, and what I keep trying to stress here is that this is not just an event. CMR is managed and helped by a small core team of hosts and volunteers, and the team is completely committed to doing what it can to make people who listen open their eyes to what is really happening in this world behind the facade. And this is in the hope that we really can all come together and do something to make the change that is so overdue. The team work out of pure vocation because it is something we feel compelled to do, as we care passionately about both revealing the truth and bringing forward solutions against the evil that is being done in our world. And we realise the absolute importance of those of us who get it uniting as much as we can to overcome this. So this conference is being run by CMR as a proactive meeting with solutions that we can all use to set ourselves free from this tyranny. And the entry fee, which is just £20, and trust me, this is amazing value for the information that you will receive on the day. And as we said yesterday, this works out at just £3 per speaker, which is fantastic value. But it's not just about value, because the money raised will be used to pay for the event itself and to help CMR continue trying to make that difference. So, as we said in the jingle, please support us in any way you can, because we really do need support, because it really is the only way, when we work together, that we will be able to find the way forward. Well, that was a new one on me. That was Patrick Wolf with Another Together. So again, I am doing a little bit of a repeat of a show that I did a few weeks ago, but I feel that it's very important to talk about these things regularly, given what this radio station stands for and given what has happened with Paul Higson last Saturday. There are more and more people finding out about the system all the time, and they're going into the disbelief and the anger and the fear, the frustration, the deep sorrow, and the sense of bereavement that comes with it. So, again, it's very important for those of us who've been through all this stuff to share it with others who are just starting to find out, because it's all too easy to feel completely isolated from many of your family and the people around you, because when we make attempts to talk about what we believe and have found out to the people closest to us, most of them will just not get it, and you just feel so very, very shut off from everything that you once believed to be true, and this can be very, very hard. You do feel like you're cracking up and losing the plot, and that everyone else around you is completely oblivious to it all. Again, I've said this before, through this shake-up in reality, your friends and family can start thinking that there is something wrong with you, and you end up seeing a doctor and told that you need to go on to prescribe drugs for a condition that does not exist. Because all that is happening is that the veil is being lifted and you are seeing things how they really are. So then you end up being handed a load of antidepressant drugs that in all truth will just create havoc on not only your head but your body. And also the only remedy you actually need is to get together and network with people who feel the same as you. So this is a reason why I'm talking about this tonight. In case there are any people listening that are at the start of this journey and are feeling alone and upset, that's one of the reasons why I totally love what this station is doing, because, and I will continue to say, Critical Mass Radio is purely about connecting people who get it, in the hope that we can grow into something that really, really can make a difference. And it's about connecting different groups that, although working on slightly different issues, need to unite and join forces, because all the issues that are going on within our communities affect all of us, and we need to tackle them together and support each other. So I really would urge people who may be seeing the truth for the first time to listen to the shows on here and get into the chat room and talk to people who feel the same, because it really does make so much difference knowing that you're not on your own and there are like-minded people you can talk to. And then we move to looking at the broader picture and hopefully making a difference to the whole society in the future. Now, there was something else I wanted to make a point of saying tonight, and it's all to do with people and the way that we react, and our egos and our pride and our matrix system embedded demons that we all have at the end of the day. And that comes out because, essentially, of all our own self-doubts and insecurities. And again, we all have this, and they do come out in our lives at different times, and they affect the way we treat other people. And sometimes all of us do or say things that are not really us, but are a result of our ingrained beliefs that we are inadequate. And I started watching a TV series this week, and I've got to say, I don't watch much TV because I understand how controlled and manipulating it is, but because I know that, I figure it's okay to watch some stuff. So I started watching the Jimmy McGovern series called The Street, which is based in Manchester, and it's all about the lives and trials of different residents in that street and how they intertwine. And when you actually stand back and watch the way that most people react to each other because of how we've basically been programmed to react, then you really see how badly reactive we all are. We stand in this pride and ego, and because of our own inner demons, act in ways with other people that is just not right, and just gets other people's backs up and starts these terrible feuds that I truly believe could all be avoided if we all just cast off all this stuff and acted towards each other with true humanity and empathy and compassion. And yes, we all lead stressful lives, which is why we mostly act this way, because so many people are so fed up with daily struggle that we're all just like coiled up springs, just waiting for the trigger to let all our pain out. But we let it out in an aggressive way with our fellow man, and it just makes everything worse. So we all need to strive to find a way of getting some sort of inner peace that will allow us to react differently to each other. And every person that does this will pass something on to the next person, and this will continue and continue until we get back to what we're actually supposed to be. Because the way we're living at the moment is not really making any of us happy. And when we stop living by the rules and the programming of the controllers, and we just have the strength and the courage to say no more and throw it all off, and really start looking inside and realise until we feel right about ourselves, then we'll never be able to act in the right way to others and look after each other the way that we're meant to. Because right now, most of us are just damaged beings because of all the things that this system does to us. And one thing is for sure, the true meaning of humanity is not what it is today, and not by a long straw. I want to read out a poem next, and this is called Reality. I'm just a darkened angel that fell with broken wings. I know I'll make it back someday, and so my heart it sings. I am here till I can fly and teach someone to soar. I am here to pick them up when they can't anymore. I came to say that there's still hope, and I heard that from above. So see me as a messenger for those afraid to love. There is no second chance at life, and no guarantees on time. So help us to heal the world by doing deeds instead of crime. A simple thing we all must learn is that a smile will show you care. It's easier to sleep at night when it's ended with a prayer. The more days I have left here, the more friends I will make. The faith that was instilled in me has shown me the path to take. Okay, right, now, next up, I've got an audio coming on that I've been wanting to play for some weeks, but I've never ever managed to fit it into the show. But this week, again, it just felt right for it. So the regulars here on CMR will have heard me talk very frequently about one of my heroes, Robert Young, an Australian guy who I feel is here primarily to help us. He's a very wise man who I feel is sending out energy to aid us to return to what we're really meant to be. And many will probably think I'm living in cloud cuckoo land here, but I've never been a pushover for this kind of stuff, and I've always been very cynical. But not with this man, because he just really resonates with me completely and utterly, and he really does fill me with tremendous hope. And I wish you could actually watch this rather than just listen, because I think you'd actually pick up a lot more by actually seeing Robert, his expressions and his eyes and this deep wisdom, and more than anything, his absolute compassion and empathy. And anyway, if you actually type in Robert Young Healing into YouTube, you will actually find this video, so you will actually be able to watch it. So this audio is of a live healing that he did with an older man who had been an anti-war activist all his life and brought up his daughter to be the same way. But then years later, she actually went into the army and it broke his heart, and he actually went on to suddenly go mysteriously blind in one eye and nearly blind in the other, which in my book was due to all the trapped energy inside of him because of his deep despair. So anyway, Robert takes him through a process, and if you do get a chance to watch it, look at Robert's eyes because there's so much going on in there. And I've got to apologise a little bit for the sound quality on here because it's not perfect, because I did actually have to re-record it because I couldn't convert it. But I've got 4 9-minute sections on this. This is Robert Young Healing, and this is part 1.
Say hi.
Hi. I'm Robert. Paul,
Nice to see you again. I think I saw you for a couple of minutes when you were coming out of the studio.
That's correct.
Last week.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
It was an amazing meeting.
Yeah.
You were just sitting there and...
I had just done Harold Janus' show, and you were coming out of the studio yourself.
Yeah. Interviewed by Alan from New Realities TV.
Uh-huh.
So, tell me a little about what I can feel, where your sight is withdrawn.
Yes. I lost my eyesight in my right eye in a matter of 2 days 5 years ago while living in Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
And then my eyesight on the left side is gone. I have about 10% foggy vision.
Right.
Theoretically, with an MRI, there's some kind of a lesion pushing down behind my right optic nerve. And by the way, I feel very fortunate. It isn't anything worse than that.
Yeah.
So I count my blessings every day. I say, thank God, it's not anything worse. So I feel very fortunate.
Great.
Yeah.
It actually comes from a different area to what you think.
And what's that? We've only really talked for about 3-4 minutes.
We have, yeah.
So,
but I'm getting a feeling that's coming from more down in the center of your body, just about halfway down the backbone. There's a lot of stress there, and it seems like there's a lot of energy blocked there from frustration.
yeah, I do have seemingly a broken heart, you might say.
Yeah.
Because I put 16 years in a marriage, and I directed all my energy towards my children. And in the clip you just saw at the demonstration in 1991, January, my daughter had such deep power and passion as an innocent child against the reality of war.
Yeah.
And in that clip, it sort of foreshadows what my wife was going to do 8 years down the road when I'm trying to calm down my daughter. She's, I believe, accelerating anxiety by saying, and they draft girls too. And
okay.
Well, first of all, there was no draft, but 8 years later, she drove my daughter to the Air Force recruiting station, and my daughter's been in Iraq, and so she's in military intelligence now.
Fine.
Learning the opposite of what she was actually learning on her own. It isn't like I gave her lectures. I think most children instinctively know that violence leads to violence.
Correct.
So
you also know that she's there for a reason.
I must say it kind of escapes me right now, but I do know, having been a professor in the 70s and having counseled for free Vietnam vets with post-traumatic stress disorder, that of course there are a lot of wonderful people in the military, and in fact there are rumors that the Pentagon has actually withheld starting a war with Iran. I don't know if you've heard that, but there are a lot of people who just don't feel like going overboard with mayhem and destruction.
Yeah. There's a lot of very special people coming into the world. Mm-hmm. And your daughter's one?
I do believe she is one, yeah.
And she has to be where the source is to change its direction.
Yeah, that's what I've been hopefully thinking.
So understand that, even with yourself, you're in and have been in the firing line for a long time of all sorts of information.
Yes.
And it's just like being under the searchlight.
Yeah.
And all that focus is on you, but you can't move anything by getting hold of the searchlight. The beam is there on you, and you can't do anything with that beam. So the only way you can move anything is to go back to the source, where the searchlight actually is, where the light is generating from, before you can move the focus. So I'd like to actually try to move the focus for you if we can, so that you're not at the end of the beam all the time, where you're at effect of the light, it's actually a darkness, but it's still a focus, and you go back to where you can actually make a difference. You can actually turn the torch, move the focus, and change the world. It's not by thought. This is very important, because the thought is the end result of the energy that you've been and the focus that you've been under. So you've attempted all your life to move that beam, and you can't move it from where you are. And so the inner part of you has to see that there's another way. And the other way can be so simple, because all you have to see is that you have to be in a different focal plane to make a difference. While ever you're in the focal plane of discussion, of results, of disaster, you can't move anything in the consciousness, because the consciousness is back at the source. So if we're just gradually getting there, right? We're just kicking things around so that you can feel that there is a possibility.
Going back to the source.
Yes. And when you go back to the source, you have all the answers. You have solutions. You have everything to present to say, move that focus. You have it all, and it's in your heart. It's in your experience, and it's in everything that you picked up while you're in that focus. So then you take it all back with the total solution, and you present it at a level that can change the world. I'm not going to give you any detail on how you do that at this point, because I know you're starting to feel it's possible.
I think I feel all the time a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so if we can actually just kick around the fact that there is another way, and that it's a very elevated and very elegant way, in you being who you are, rather than be an effect of where you've been, you're going to feel a lot more capable of just connecting and leaning back towards a totally healthy state in the world. Because you have that power and you have that experience, but more so because of the special person you are. So now we're getting into the energy side of things, where you've blocked the energy because you said, this is not working. And that's understandable.
You mean once you distinguish that things aren't going the way you hoped
Totally.
That creates the block.
Totally.
Uh-huh.
Particularly with someone as powerful as you. You're powerful enough to shut yourself down. You're also powerful enough to shift the focus.
I must say I've been having a bit of trouble doing that, in the sense that what you're saying seems to be obvious, but it's so obvious it might escape me.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
Bad riddles.
Yeah, but that's beautiful.
But I think I need a little bit of help in your sort of giving an example of...
well, remember, it comes from your heart and not from your head. And so, if you start to connect further with your heart and know its presence and know its power, as you used to, more than just love, it is that gentle, endless strength that always succeeds.
Are you saying it's connected to prayer and wishful intention in a positive way?
No, I'm saying it's you. And it's your heart. And it will go anywhere and do anything that you desire.
Physically?
Physically, yes.
Uh-huh.
So it's a new concept to play with, but it's one that you've shown many people over the years, and you've shown them they've got to have heart, or they disappear into this endless world of speculation and analysis. Until they actually get out of that analytical circle, they can't move anywhere.
It's a head trip, a thought trip.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you've been showing people that for a long time, and you do it by actually reflecting what's in you.
Yeah. My former wife, in the very beginning, she used to say, everybody knows what you're feeling. You wear your feelings on your sleeve.
Great.
But it seemed like I was manifesting that.
Go back to that. Go back to wearing everything on your sleeve, wearing your heart on your sleeve, your feelings, the whole bit, and the energy will start to flow such that you can transmit your total desire for the universe and for your family and for everybody else all at once.
But it's Robert, right?
Yeah.
Robert, I feel like I have been letting my feelings show, but are you suggesting I haven't been directing those feelings somewhere?
Yeah.
In space and time?
Correct.
To, say, in this case right now, my daughter.
Yeah, because it's a focus that you're trying to create while you're in the focus of all the problems. You can't stand in the beam, as I said, and actually move the beam to another place. You have to go back to where the beam originates.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the here and now thought process blocks the original feeling of love and concern from going to that source.
Correct. Now, love and concern is not going to do much if it's not felt. So the only way you can have the world and your daughter and everybody else to feel the love and concern is if you transmit it straight back to your Creator, your God, your best thing, whatever you call, and allow it to be transmitted.
You mean surrendering?
No.
Your feelings to a higher power?
Not surrendering, delivering.
All right. Delivering.
Through the higher power to your daughter. So delivering through the higher power to those who are creating war. Delivering the full solution through a higher power to government. Delivering through that higher power.
Could that be called prayer?
It can be, but you are much more connected than that. You don't have to ask. You never did have to ask. The instant you decide and you have a total heart's desire, it happens. All the things that came out of nowhere for you in the past, all the beautiful things that came out of nowhere, came because of that desire through your higher source. And it doesn't matter what you call it. The times that it happened, you weren't deep in prayer, as you know it. You were deep in, wow, I can do it.
Yeah, I think I'm going back to the conception day of my daughter, my first daughter, and that was a wow.
Beautiful. The energy starting to flow.
Yeah, well,
beautiful.
We go back to the microsecond of conception with the pure energy.
Yep.
So
if that's the most important thing in your life, that is your source. That's how you picture your source right now. And you go back to there and you deliver a total solution. And it will be seen by all those who can make a difference. And it may not be the person you decide that makes the difference. You just deliver the whole picture of what's inside you so that it can be handled in the correct manner.
Yeah, I made a video letter to my daughter, and the love and the conception of her took place after I had visited in Dallas, Texas,
it's too direct.
The JFK assassination site. And I was struck by
Can you see what's happening there?
I'm going into a thought.
You're going into
away
the
from
end focal points,
the
results, not the source.
No, but I'm just trying to tell you the antecedent of source to the source.
Okay.
The day before.
Yep.
And I was struck by the fact that tremendous evil had taken place right here, and in that acknowledgement, tremendous joy took place with the love and the conception of my daughter in Austin, Texas, actually.
Right.
And the last day we were together as a family, we're in Houston, Texas, and I wanted to go to Austin and explain all that to my daughter, but I got interrupted. My former wife put the children on a bus to Chicago saying, they're going to go there and get an apartment, and Dad will be joining in 2 weeks. But that wasn't really her intention. Maybe I'm over-talking it right now, but those were the circumstances of the original source. They got interrupted. I never got a chance to explain that to my daughter, and hopefully I can go back so that out of great evil can come great good. And
it doesn't work like that.
No?
No, I'm sorry.
Tell me how you see it.
There is no need to fix the evil. There is only need to put everything in a perfect place now. So if your daughter could feel the essence of the joy of the new world that you see, she doesn't need the rest. Doesn't need any explanation. Only needs the perfection of the world of your Creator where everything is perfect. That's the one you see.
You mean in the now?
Yeah. But in the now and in the future without explaining.
I know, but when you've used the term the original source.
That is the original source.
The now?
Yeah.
Well, I guess
that is the original source. And that's why I keep
only
saying,
the now is the now.
Yeah, and the ultimate of whatever being you experience is the original source. Because it happens now, and it did happen now at that time. The source now can actually adjust that, but it doesn't adjust backwards. It just puts new in place. It's like your eyesight. It can be put back in place if you allow it to come to you rather than you trying to look out.
I think modern ophthalmology would be interested in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you allow the gift to come to you, the gift of sight, is actually more than just looking.
Yeah. What's remarkable about what you're saying is that it's so obviously common sense, but we live in a world where these thoughts are interrupted. And even myself, I know there's much emphasis on experiencing the now, but they're words unless you can actually.
So right now, we're sitting here, and we're connecting to one another, and you can feel a difference until you talk about the past. And then the shutter comes down.
Yeah.
So as soon as you started to talk about the birth of your daughter, the energy started to flow. And the grateful feeling that you have inside actually showed on the outside. And at that point, everything was beautiful until you led into the difficulty.
Yeah. Well, I guess I got confused with your talking earlier about going back to the original source.
So, yeah. So the original source is your creator. Good, bad, or indifferent, it all fits. So in the world that you're experiencing at the moment, it's good because I'm starting to actually confuse a few of the patterns. And in confusing those patterns, we'll start to get an energy flow that you haven't felt for a long time. And that's my aim, so that you can actually have something more to play with than the past or the difficulties. And you can start to feel there is something active in you that can make a difference whether you can see or not. And then it's not important that you have difficulty or had difficulty. It'll disappear in the joy of the beautiful feelings that you can allow in your life. And you watch. If you're allowed to move the energies, you will start to feel
the God-given energies that we all have.
Yeah.
They get convoluted by our society and a lot of thought.
It doesn't matter why, because right now you can play with that energy and enjoy it. And the pressure that you're starting to feel in your head at the back here is because there's an energy starting to move that hasn't moved for a long time. And you'll feel changes, okay?
You sure are giving me a good talking to.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've heard this rap in a long time, but it sort of falls into place, what you're saying. And if you believe it to be so, it is so.
No.
No?
You know it.
You have to know it. You just know it.
Yeah. I often tell people, you know, if I came up to you and said, do you believe you've got a front door on your house? You'd say, no, I know.
Yeah.
And I'd say, but do you believe? And you'd say, go away. I know there's a front door there.
Yeah.
There is no comparison. They don't connect together. If you believe doesn't mean it is. But if you know it is, you don't have any other questions. And you know your connection, and you know your strength, and you know you can make a difference to the world, and you're very disappointed that it seems like it failed. It hasn't failed. I can assure you what you're doing is so important to the world. You're just not seeing it at the moment, and you don't want to see it until it proves to you that it's real. And so your body follows you.
I think I've fallen victim at times, even last night thinking about coming on today, that I know my daughter is a very powerful person for an 8-year-old in that clip, and maybe for most 8-year-olds, and that how could that all evaporate and go away? No matter, and the thing is to just kind of believe that it's still there, and it will manifest itself.
You know it's there. And manifesting doesn't determine whether it's there or not. When we're talking about your front door, you know, but I've never seen it. I don't have to. It's there. You know what's in your daughter, and you know what's in you. And it is much, much more than what's showing on the outside. Allow it to be there.
You may have the faith, and
just allow it to be there.
Yeah.
You see, See what happens when you have to put a word to it? It becomes the same as all the other things you have to have faith in. No.
Just feel it.
Know it.
Know it.
And know that you are making a difference. I can assure you you're making a very, very big difference. You're sitting here talking to people, and you are actually considering what I'm talking to you about.
Mm-hmm.
You are actually considering that there is another way. And that is a beautiful thing. Transmit that to the world. You will allow people to actually change their world. Just like you will allow your daughter to change her world, because as soon as it changes in you, it is transmitted to her because you're so closely connected. The precision that you can have in making sure that your energy is such that it's perfect for her will change the world. This is true because you're transmitting it to everybody. And you're sitting back here using the skills of the unknown in the greatest way possible to support your daughter and everybody like her without anybody really understanding how you're doing it.
Because it just is.
Correct.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the reasons for coming on is to, as an educator, is to try to help other people. They can see themselves through me,
yeah,
or see their children through my.
Great. And if you're going to actually pull all that energy back to where it's right now, it's constructive, and it's totally helpful to your daughter, everybody else will be able to do the same. Because they're looking at you and they're seeing that you're going, well, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do something different. Maybe there's a little bit more in me than I thought. But the only way that works is if you are aware that there is another way and that you can do it without knowing how.
And that source actually is within you.
Yep. And it's a total connection to the greatest being that you can possibly know.
I don't think, Robert, we get too many reinforcing messages the way you're giving right now. And the obvious goes unnoticed sometimes. And I think I've been stuck in that spot without hearing actually healing words. I get the feeling you have healing words about the way it can be done or works.
And you can start to feel a little pressure in your chest where your heart is starting to respond.
I think I can, to be honest with you.
Good.
Because there's a lightening of the spirit, I think.
Good. Yeah. And your eyes have actually changed.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. You're actually getting more active with the movement of your eyes. They're not just sitting there. So, So understand that your heart is your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And your heart is where you work from.
Yeah.
And your connection to your source, your creator, your greatest, your higher being, whatever you like to know it as, is there permanently.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
Like you know, your daughter is a special being that at one point demonstrated it highly.
Yes.
But it's not a case of losing anything. We come in here and we don't lose anything.
So if I go into the that was then and this is now, and the now is different than the then, that tricking of myself into not believing can actually trigger.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, the full circle back to her in the here and now.
Yeah, but remember, you've just given your brain a demonstration, and you've ticked some boxes in your brain. Does nothing.
That's the old thought.
No, well, it makes you feel better, but
yeah, well, sometimes it's hard to describe the
what you don't.
Yeah.
Because remember, you can't transmit the beauty of your own being unless it's through your heart. And when you're working with that unknown force that you know very well, just know it's like you have a front door. You have that unknown ability. You are going to change it because that's what you came here for. And you're not going to ask how because you're the only one who knows how.
Uh-huh.
And your brain will never understand it.
So just
know
being
and make the difference.
It is
Yep.
is the light and the doubting and the thinking that was then and this is now, which is opposite, is the darkness.
Yeah.
So that source actually emanates from within you.
Yeah. And your interaction with people, as you're doing now, your interaction with people who are of similar structure internally, similar structure in divinity,
Mm-hmm.
will actually give you much more confidence in the massive powers that you carry within your being. And I'm saying it to you, I'm not saying it to everybody.
I think I'm catching on a bit here.
Yeah.
And it's been sort of in the dark, I guess, about it.
So that massive skill that you have that is undefinable by words stands out to me so much that I'm saying, I know you have that, and I know that you are making a difference, and I know that there is another way.
Thank you. And you're saying that sometimes you can try too hard to make a difference?
If it's hard work, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard.
No.
And it shouldn't be stressful.
No.
No.
There is, you see, those names you've just given me, like hard and stressful,
Yeah.
they are really hard work.
Yeah, they are.
It takes a long time to build those.
It's the Protestant work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever is good has to be hard work.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's
simplicity and the love and the joy in your heart
Mm-hmm.
will just lift everybody to where everything flows correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't have to prove it face to face. The connection you have at a distance is enormous.
It's sort of a smiling Buddha.
Beautiful.
You just know.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
if you just know, you can smile and not be grinning
That's
about
it.
how hard it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, these are good words. I think I listen to a lot of talk radio,
Yeah.
and I haven't heard this kind of presentation. And I must say, it makes sense, or I feel it. I just feel it, and I
That's
appreciate
beautiful.
your effort today.
That's really beautiful. One of the things that you may come across when you walk away from our discussion is that you just physically feel a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that that's our connection. And you can call on that anytime you wish. This is what happens with the connection of universal beings. That you threw your hand in the air and said, I need a little bit more here. And so somebody's turned up without knowing, and you're getting that little bit more.
Yeah.
So never give it away and know that it's yours. That's a gift that you asked someone to bring, and I'm bringing you that energy connection to support you whenever you wish. And I'm only a phone call away.
Well, thank you.
Good. Beautiful. Do you want to just...
Great, it's a wrap.
Do you have any closing comments there, Paul? Anything you want to say? How do you...
Do you think...
I think we're good.
I think we're good. It is...
A lot to take in.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Okay, beautiful. That was beautiful.
It was great.
Well, I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
for
Robert.
accepting me.
Thank you. Well, it's easy to do. Are you sure you're not a little bit stressed because your hand's a little cold? Yeah, you're lying and warmed up. Yeah. I feel I should be giving back to you now.
No, I've just taken all that away from you.
Have you absorbed some of the pain? You think so?
Yeah, all of it.
Jeez, you have.
All of it.
Wow. Is that good?
Yeah, I just give it to the trees.
You give it out to the trees?
Yeah.
I think you have absorbed some stuff, yeah.
Give it all to him. Go ahead, give it all to him.
Hey, take it off.
Keep sending it.
No, really.
No, do that. That's why we're connected.
Yeah.
I can do that. All right?
We wouldn't be connected if you weren't
true.
reabsorbing it, but I don't want you to hold on to it.
Oh, it never happens.
You have a way of getting rid of it?
That's me.
Yeah.
Alan, any time.
Me or Paula.
Did this go kind of okay for you?
Right.
I think it did, huh?
That was great.
Yeah, I think, I do.
Yeah.
Beautiful,
It's-
actually.
Have a look at his eyes.
I can't.
He's moving them much more. Yeah.
Huh?
You're moving your eyes much
You
more.
do?
Well, we just
feel
blocked the light. Did you notice that? Yes.
What, I blocked the light?
Yeah. Did you see that?
No, what happened?
What you just did was you unconsciously blocked the light so you could see them. So you'll find that you're allowing the vision to come to you.
Yeah,
So even if your eyes are broken,
yeah.
I can assure you can see.
It could be a matter of the heart, too. Whatever. The eyes are the eyes, but I think the heart is the heart.
Heart is the thing.
The heavy heart is maybe, as a doctor
So
said
remember,
to me, people die of heart attacks, not of blindness.
No, that's right.
Yeah, he made a point. Yeah.
So remember, it's very easy to reprogram yourself
Yeah,
with words.
it's a minor adjustment.
So remember,
Well, I'll be looking at this.
and use the word I used to.
I used to.
I used to feel that way.
Yeah.
And this used to happen to me.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's
it'll move.
really great. I never heard anybody reinforce that term, used to. Also, sometimes they say up until now.
Yeah, no.
Up until now.
No, I used to. It's
used
gone.
to. Used to. It means gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
That's
how are you
brilliant.
doing over
I'm
there?
good.
Let me see. Wow, this one has absorbed a little bit more.
Yeah, it's
Don't
on
be
that
afraid
side.
to give all of it to him
Keep going.
because that's his
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, this here
Oh,
is
dear.
a lot closer to the negativity.
But just keep sending it.
Huh?
Keep sending it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't care.
Oh, you mean in wishing you...
Send the negativity out of you, even if it's a war. You
Yeah.
send the whole lot to me. We'll elevate.
Yeah, I was hoping to send some good stuff.
Yeah, but that is good, you know. And I send it to the trees, and trees live on shit.
Okay, well, I hope that some of you got something out of that. I really do have a deep faith in this man, I do have to say. So another show draws to an end, and yet another week. And to finish, again, I'd like to highlight the CMR Time to Act conference, a fantastic place to network and find out about the solutions we have to try to overcome this mess, which is taking place on Saturday, the 24th of November in Manchester. Full details are on the CMR website at criticalmassradio.co.uk. And trust me, there will be some amazing information shared at this event, so be there or be square, as they say. Next up on Scouts Night, we've got the Reverend George on the Prisoner broadcast tonight, joined by Pippa and Chris Coles, who is an anti-drones campaigner who has researched the use of drones, UAV, in countries to target terrorists, but have killed many civilians, including women and children, and how their use has made it easy for the state to attack sovereign nations with impunity. They're also discussing the implications of their domestic use for surveillance purposes. We've actually got then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we've got the Earth Needs Rebel show, and it actually features tomorrow Robert Green talking about the Holly Greig campaign. So that's with Andy and Kevin tomorrow at 7, and that's one to listen to, I think. And then we've got Brian, the boxing vicar, coming up with the Changing Consciousness show at 9 o'clock, and he will be broadcasting live from Germany. So for the last time this evening, I'd like to ask you all to send your thoughts to our friend lost, Paul Higson, wherever he may be now, and also to his loved ones. And to finish as ever, I send my love out to you all, and I wish you all a perfect life, a perfect health, and a magic future. And let's just take care of each other. Thanks for listening, everybody. I wish you good night, and I'm going to end with that fantastic quote once again from our very own Ralph Freeman. Good night.
Man's indomitable spirit can never be vanquished. Every fibre of our existence must be stirred to bring the ultimate resistance against tyranny, injustice and oppression, and extinguish these darkest forces of evil. May my arms be so strong as to carry my fallen brothers out of the darkness and into the light, for nothing as long as we live will ever be more important. That's a quote from a chap called Rob Freeman.